My name is Kat Corchado. I am a fellow Air Force veteran and host of the podcast Sisters in Service. This podcast is where I found my passion for helping other veterans after my transition from the military over 22 years ago. My mission is to help veterans avoid the black hole known as transition, to help women veterans find their voice and discover their strengths as they enter civilian life. There's a new episode every Tuesday. I hope that you'll listen, you'll like, you'll share, you'll comment, and let me know what you'd like to hear on this podcast. Until then, I hope to see you again soon. Please stay safe, take care of each other, and it's never too late to start your impossible. Welcome, Sisters in Service, to another episode. I am, of course, your host, Kat Corchado, and I have a treat today. I get to interview a mother-daughter duo who both were in the same service, but at different eras. My first guest is Lita Tomas, and she was started out as an Army mechanic, went into global logistics officer, which we'll talk about that. And she traveled all the way through some of the reserves, Army, Air Force, you name it, she did it. And also her daughter, Jean Marie McNamara, who also went into the Army. So we're going to talk about that too. So ladies, I love this duet. I love this. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's great to have you guys. So Lita, let's talk about your service for a second. So you were one of the first women who were permitted to train as part of the regular U.S. Army in 1977. Correct. So let's go back for a second, okay, and think about what it was like in 1977, because my dad went to Vietnam during that era.
Okay.
Or it was probably earlier. Don't quote me, y'all, because I could probably have my dates all mixed up. But it was the 70s. Bell bottoms, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you remember those, Lita?
Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do.
Hot pants, the whole 9 yards.
Vinyl boots. Oh,
I know.
I tell you.
Platform shoes. So most women at that time were, you found a boyfriend, you got engaged, you got married, you had kids. You were pretty much a stay-at-home wife. Not everybody, but most everybody wanted to do that. So, Lita, what was it about you that made you say, I want to go do this?
Well, actually, I was one of those typical stay-at-home moms initially. Actually, the day after I graduated high school, I got married. And the reason was I was already...
What? Okay, I was going to say you don't want to go too much into it.
Okay, I already had a white dress, and my hair was already done. So I said, I can't. Here, you could see my hair. I do not do hair. Military haircut is absolutely fine for me, but I had to have my hair. I had to have my hair done for the graduation, and it was like up to here,
beehive hair.
Yeah, and like 1,000 pins in it. And I said, well, I'm already spruced up. I might as well get married. So we got married the next day. But it did not turn out to be a good relationship. I ended up, eventually getting a divorce. And during the process of all that, I was thinking, how do I support? Because getting married the day after high school, did not go to college.
Right.
How do I support my children without a college degree? So I thought, well, you know what? This recruiter over here is advertising that they pay for college. Let me look into it.
Wow. That's pretty kind of forward thinking for just women of that time, to be able to say, you know what, let me go do this. Because a lot of women in that era would say, oh, no, that's a guy thing. I don't want to do that. Have to do push-ups and stuff like that. So let me ask you about when you went in and you started out as a tank mechanic. Was it kind of that mindset where you go, yeah, this isn't going to last long. I need to do something else.
Actually, yeah. When I first wanted to join, I wanted to be a medic. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be something medical. And I took the ASVAB, and they were all like flabbergasted because I guess I scored higher than anybody at the time. And they said, you could be whatever you want. And I said, oh, cool. I want to
I'd
be
like
a
to be
doctor.
general.
I
Oh.
want to be a doctor. No, you can't do that. You don't have college. I'm like, well, wait a minute now. I'm on a catch-22 here. How do I join and be something that I want to be and get trained to be something, but I can't because I don't have the college. But then you're saying so they said, but you know what? We need mechanics. I'm like, oh man. So, so I asked my dad, what do you think about that idea? And he said, well, they get paid pretty well. And I said, all right, well then we'll do it.
And I think
Wow.
you said before that you've told me before that you would watch the TV show MASH,
Oh, yeah.
which was about, a medical group.
I loved MASH.
And
right.
that's what inspired you to go. You wanted to pursue a career in medicine.
Most likely, yes.
Oh, wow. That's
By
awesome.
the way, my daughter will be assisting me.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I do have early onset Alzheimer's, and I'm on several medications now. They are helping, but they're not, a cure.
And then she'll help me because I had a TBI and I also need assistance. Together we work pretty well, but we do have backup. Sean's around here somewhere.
We make a lot of notes, and I got my grandson over here
Yes.
if I need help. But
Lots of backup.
It has been a struggle, right?
Yeah.
So the Army
yeah.
was watching MASH was one of the reasons why you went in the Army. Because I was going to ask you, why the Army? I always ask the question, did you pick the Army or did the Army pick you? And obviously I think it was mutual decision.
Right. And my dad was a Korean War veteran, which he never really discussed it like at the dinner table or anything. He just did his stint and came home. But I think it was just from watching MASH. I mean, amazingly, that just stuck in my head.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did you serve?
A total of 23 years, but it was fragmented. I went in active duty, and unfortunately, after 18 months, by that time, my ex-husband, because I got divorced during the process, was trying to put the skids on my staying in the military because of visitation problems. So I had to get out early. I got an early release from active duty. But after spending 18 months and seeing that and feeling that camaraderie and that sense of this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, I know I have a purpose, I didn't want to give that up. So I immediately jumped into the reserves after that.
Right.
I jumped into the Air Force Reserves, and I stayed in a unit that was right near my home in Chicago. So I didn't have to travel, and he was able to do this visitation. And I did the Air Force Reserves for 6 years. And then during that period, I said, you know what? Most of the officers that were over me, I really had a lot of respect for the NCOs, but the officers were all a little bit.
She thought she could do a
uppity.
better job.
A little uppity. And I said, you know what? I think I could do a better job as an officer. How could I be an officer? And they said, well, you have to go to OCS. So I said, okay, let me go to OCS. Oh, you can't do that in the Air Force because you don't have any college. I'm like, God, I can't win. But by that time, I had been going to a community college, and I got a 2-year degree concurrently while I was in the reserves.
Right.
And I got a 2-year degree in diesel mechanics. And the Army National Guard had a OCS program that would allow me to join with a 2-year degree. And I said,
Oh,
okay,
nice.
I'm back in the Army.
Right.
So I jumped ship again. I went back to the Army, but this time Army National Guard.
So thinking back to that time, what was the culture like? Was it what you expected, or was it totally different from MASH and what you thought it would be? What was the culture like?
Actually, the basic training really did put a pretty big imprint in my heart and my soul. I felt that it was a family. I felt that we were all one family unit, that we were training together to go through. And I didn't realize at the time, this was my how do you say it?
Naivete.
Yes. I didn't realize that we weren't going to go from that unit to the next unit all as a group. I didn't realize that. So I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. We're going to all go different directions. I'm going to lose my family. But it really made me feel like it was a really good family unit, and we all stuck up for each other.
And things were different. I know when we look back at photographs, it's surprising to me how everything is cyclical. Where at that time you were able to have natural hair.
What do you mean natural hair?
It didn't have to be braided
Or put up.
Or put up.
It had to be.
It had to be short.
It couldn't touch your collar.
It couldn't touch your collar, but you could have natural hair.
Okay.
And then they went to where you had to have it braided, and now they're going back to allowing natural hair.
Okay, all right.
And that to me was fascinating.
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
But I really did. I felt that. And that's what I appreciated out of the MASH episodes, where everybody was really helping each other get through the war. Right,
yeah.
right. I love that.
Yes. So, Jean, let's talk about your service a little bit. What was your why for going in the Army? Now, let me say this first. A lot of times I've spoken to people who their whole family was Army and they went in the other direction. Mm-hmm. And I think I understand why you're going in the Army, but I grew up in the Air Force, so I knew the Air Force. I didn't know about being in it, but I was familiar with it, which is why I stayed in my lane. So tell us a little bit about why you chose the Army.
Well, when I was much younger, I wanted to join the Peace Corps. But I was in a similar situation to what my mother had faced, where you had to have your college degree before joining the Peace Corps. So I took the ASVAB as well, and I thought, let me just see what my options are, because my goal was to ultimately also go into the medical field, although I didn't know my mother's history at that point, and I wanted to be a doctor. And a friend of ours who went to medical school and then decided it wasn't for him about midway through, or even I think maybe even after he had graduated, he decided then he wanted to be a teacher for mathematics. So he took a complete 180 turn on that one. And he said, make sure this is what you want before you put in, the 8 years required. So I thought, well, let me get some hands-on training and work in the medical field while I'm going to school and make sure that this is what I want. Because I'm a very empathetic person, and it's hard for me to see people in pain.
Yes. So
I thought, well, I need to make sure this is right for me. So I joined because, well, it was right down the street. It was very convenient to sign up. There was a recruiter right down the street. I was like,
that kind of helps. So. Yes, that kind of helps.
And so I joined as a medic because then I could get, once I was trained for that, I could also work as an EMT on the civilian side. And I realized rather quickly that medicine is not for me. It's very, very difficult for me to see other people in pain and focus on what I need to do. And so after my initial enlistment period was up, I re-upped for 1 year. So that was 7 years enlisted. And then I, too, went to OCS and decided that I was going to pursue a career in chemistry. And I was working in analytical chemistry at that time. And so I went to the chemical corps and switched focus a little bit there, because you don't have to worry. You're worried about people, but you're not. It's a little bit different.
Right.
And I thought
at an arm's length.
Yes. And you can still help soldiers in that regard, where you can keep them out of areas that are dangerous. If they have to be in that area that's very dangerous, get them in and out as quickly as possible. And once they are out of that area, make sure that they're cleaned up deconned and safe again.
So both of you guys have that analytical mind, that math mind, that how do things go together and fit together. That totally not my I remember in high school taking algebra, and then I took algebra 2, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I messed around and took some geometry, and I'm still lost. I don't even know if I finished the course. I was like, I don't understand. This makes no sense to me at all. So that's kind of cool, that you guys have that same kind of analytical mind. So, Lita, when your daughter came to you, or did she? about her decision to go in the Army, what did you think? What did you say to her?
I told her that I took my ASVABs, and she asked, well, when do you get your results? Because I want to be there. And I told her, and she did come to school, and you'll have to read how well that went over.
I was happy.
Yeah.
I was very happy. At the time, there was no conflict anywhere, and so I wasn't worried about her, that she might be getting shipped out. And I approved of the course that she had set for herself. I thought it was a good idea.
That's really supportive because, a lot of parents who went in service or even not at all went to service are very hesitant when their kids say they want to go in. So that's kind of comforting, the fact that you were like, okay, I'm okay with this. So Jean, when you went in the service, what was the culture when you went in versus when your mom went in? Was it what you thought, or was it more supportive, or was it totally different from your expectation?
I definitely felt that there was the camaraderie there. And because I was a military brat, I kind of knew what it was going to be like in terms of, what it's like to be on base and what it's like to have, billets and everything. You're used to the acronyms already, and you kind of fall into everything, although every generation changes acronyms.
Yes.
But to make it their own and identify themselves. So I did feel very comfortable in that environment. I was surprised when I got to my unit and a little disappointed when I got to my unit, just because I had expected that we would be training for the job we needed to do. And instead we were doing a completely different job. So we never trained for the job we needed to do. And that was a little frustrating. And then I was transferred to another unit, and day one, they were like, oh no, we trained for the job we are going to do. And it was highly impressive. And I was like, oh, this is what I wanted. Because I wanted to help people, and I wanted to, be not in the action, but I wanted to be in the action.
Okay. Lita, when you got out, what was your transition like? Was it easy? Was it hard? Is it what you expected? Was it totally different? Tell us a little bit about that.
I had a unique exit. I was mobilized at the time. I was working at U.S. Transcom, and I was in a cycle that was going to be sent over to the desert 6 months in the future, but I was like in a train-up position, and
I got hurt.
I got a notification that my daughter was injured while she was at her officer basic course, and threw my hands up, and I said, hold on, we're on hold here. I've got to see what's going on. And the unit that I was assigned to gave me a short respite. I took a leave. I went out to see how Jean was, and it didn't look like she was going to recover too quickly. So I took a retirement right then and there. It was like right in the middle of my mobilization.
So it was immediate. You didn't have time to think about it or contemplate it. It's like, oh,
no, right
here, and right now.
I had a lot of faith in my full-time staff because, I didn't have any records with me or anything. I said, I hope I'm going to get all my points. I hope I got enough points to retire. But they took care of everything, and they packaged me up and sent me home.
At that time, I wasn't able to.
She wasn't able to do anything.
I couldn't. Walk. I wasn't even breathing on my own at night. So.
Oh my goodness!
It was a bad accident injury. Yeah, and I've had to have 5 major surgeries to get where I am today, and I take a lot of medication to keep me upright. Yes, which I'm very thankful for.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Oh yeah, me too.
We're both glad you're here.
I've had more than one physician tell me that if it wasn't for the fact that I was doing Pilates every single day and had really strengthened my neck muscles, I would have been in really bad shape.
Okay, can you say that again? Because I'm a Pilates instructor. I've been teaching Pilates for 15 years, and people are like, oh, is that just for dancers? Isn't that just, and I said, no, Pilates is for everybody, especially those that have been injured.
Yeah.
Because if you have the right instructor, it can be a lifesaver, literally. So tell us a little bit about your journey. I'm taking a little segue here, but I think this is important for people to hear.
Well, I was in Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, and in addition to going to class every day for my officer basic course, I would wake up in the morning and do Pilates, and this was I started Pilates in 1999. So it wasn't really as popular. So I had to use videotapes and old-fashioned videotapes at that time. And I would do it every morning. And then I would go to PT. Then I would go to class. Then I would go to the gym. Then I would come back and do Pilates again. And it was fantastic because it really strengthened my core muscles.
Yes.
And then also strengthened my neck. And just it gave me a great sense of being. And I felt like it was also a way to even relax. I mean, I know it's very stressful and strenuous, but at the end of the day, it was the way I capped off my day. So I began the day and ended the day with Pilates. And then I hit my head, twisted my neck, and wrenched my shoulder to the point where my my spine went up into my brainstem and squished my cerebellum.
Oh, no.
And my shoulder blade was torn off. So it was quite bad. And just a few years ago, there was someone that was demonstrating Pilates for people that were injured. And I thought, I miss Pilates so much. And I said, but I don't think I can do it because I have dysautonomia. So if I stand up, I get dizzy. And I thought, and I have neck injuries. Like, how could I do it? And they got me on the reformer, and it was amazing. I was able to work muscles that I haven't worked in decades. Right. And it's fantastic. But they did say, if it wasn't for the fact that I was in such good condition at that time, that things could have been even worse.
Right. Well, I'm glad you had Pilates, because I love it when, people who have been injured, not the fact they've been injured, but they come in not knowing, and then they find out that they can get a sense of accomplishment and get stronger because of it. So let's go into your book. You have a book called Lita and Jean, Memoirs of Two Generations of Military Women. That's going to be released this year, correct? Yes. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yes. What day is today?
Well, I don't know when this is going to be.
Is today Tuesday?
I don't know when this is going to post.
Yeah.
Today's Monday.
Yeah. Oh, Monday.
Today's Monday, the 21st, but it's going to post. It's next released Tuesday. March 29th. So whenever this posts, it might have already been released.
Right.
And it's been a long, hard road because you have to go back and recall those memories and think about what it felt like. What did you smell, hear, taste, feel at those times? So it can be challenging. There was a lot of
emotions.
Yes.
This book took us
3
years to write.
Whereas a lot of people write a book in a month. But it was fascinating for me because I guess I didn't really take in all the details about. I mean, obviously I was quite young when my mom joined the military, but I didn't realize we went to the same place for basic training.
Yeah.
And so together we went and we visited Fort Jackson, and my mom was able to point out, here's where I stayed, and it's still, the buildings are still there.
Still there, yeah.
Oh, yes. The only thing that changed was they took down the water tank. And I remember my billets were on, my unit was stationed on Tank Hill. And I thought tank meant, an Army tank, but it apparently referred to a water tank. So I learned all sorts of things. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I just associated Army and tanks because of my mother.
Of course.
Yeah. But it's been really interesting learning more about my mother and her journey. And I want to say even, building a friendship with my mom as an adult has been interesting.
That's a labor of love. Two people who love each other dearly, producing this book. Where can we get it? Let's talk about that. When it becomes available, where do we get the book? Tell everyone where they can go to get it or pre-order it.
Oh, you can definitely pre-order it today. Wherever you get your books, your local independent bookstore. If you go to them and they don't have it on the shelf, I'm sure they'll be happy to order it for you. If you prefer going to Barnes & Noble or Amazon, it's available there as well. And then it'll be available at certain, like at the women's...
Are we going to have it at AFIS?
We're talking about having it at military exchanges.
I hope so.
So we should see about that as well. If you go to our website, Lita and Jean, so LITAANDJEAN.com, you will find ways to get a free copy if you enter one of our giveaways, or there are links on how to purchase it as well. Or you can go to our publisher, Master Wings Publishing, and they have more information on the book as well.
I can't wait to get a copy. This sounds very
there
interesting.
Is a copy over on the other side of the desk with your name on it.
Oh, I can't wait. That's exciting.
Along with the little goodie
bag. Yeah, little book swag.
Yeah. Awesome. Everyone says, that they're like, oh, you should write a book. And I'm like, I don't know. Podcasting is great. Maybe down the road, because, I might think about it, but someone said that if you just kind of write like 5 minutes a day and just like you're writing a note and all of a sudden you've got all these pages and you think, wow, I might as well just do a book.
Yes. Right. Absolutely.
It sounds so easy, but I don't know. Well, ladies, it's been such a pleasure having you both on here. So much, and you are my first in a year and a half since I started my podcast, the mother-daughter duet.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So, and I've been wanting to do one of these, okay? And it just kind of happened. That's why, we did our pre-interview and I was like, please be a part of this. This would be so amazing. So, any last words, ladies, that you would like our audience to know?
My grandson, my mother's grandson, my nephew is, on the verge of joining the military as well. And, so we're excited for him to, take that next step. And, we just want everyone to be safe, look after one another. And I think, any last words from you, Mom?
I don't know.
Okay. Don't shop adopt.
Just jump in at any moment, Lita. Just jump in. Yeah, I think, that's just awesome. I just realized, and I don't know why, but I am the first woman in our family to have actually gone into the military and retired.
Oh. You know what? When we were doing, right after we did the book, how did I start the family tree? I don't know, but I'm doing a family tree now, Kat. And I said, you know what? Out of all of the family, I've got 48,000 people in my family tree now.
Wow.
48,000.
I was going to say, she could probably tell you how we are related.
Yeah. but there are only six women
who served in the military.
That have served in the military out of those 48,000.
Yeah.
That's what I'm searching for. I think my next book is going to, if I'm allowed to write another book, my next book is going to be about the family members that have served in the military, because I think it's amazing how some families really do. They kind of like just go, they
focus on service.
Yeah. Service to country.
I mean, I'm thinking like the Shrivers, the Kennedys.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Where they were like, you have to serve in some way.
Right.
It's vital. And that's how I always felt, that no matter what route I took, I needed to, be of service.
Give back.
Yeah.
I think it's unique too. And I just realized this not too long ago, that when you enter the military as a woman and come out of the military, no matter how long you served, you have automatic admission into a very unique and select club. Mm-hmm. And you don't even realize it until after you've been out. So, we're all a part of that club. It's nice to have y'all as members.
Thank
and
you. Yep. And I know we're looking to join Woven.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
Absolutely.
What's woven?
It's a military organization for women veterans.
All right, I'm up.
Yeah, we're doing, I'm one of the national consultants for Woven. And we're doing this Recognize Her 22, where we're taking the stigma away from asking a woman veteran if she's a vet. Because a lot of women still don't stand up and say, I'm a veteran. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Absolutely.
And I was going to say one of the most interesting things, and I guess I should have mentioned it earlier, but it's interesting when I first started going to the VA for healthcare, they would always call Mr. McNamara, and now they call Miss. But when we went to, we were staying at a military lodging recently, and they said, what's your husband's rank? And my mom said, he's a lieutenant colonel, but he's not here, and the reservation's under my name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to change that,
Right.
Thank you.
But thank you guys so much for being a part of this. This was very special for me, and I'm so glad that you guys agreed to do this. For the audience, pre-order that book. I'm definitely going to read the book because I think it's going to be interesting coming from two women who are related, but from two different eras of the same service, the Army. And so, as always, thank you so much for listening. Please share this podcast if you know anyone. You don't have to be a military member or be in the service, but I'm sure that you know a woman who was in the service. And as always, please take care of yourself and be safe. And until next time, and one more thing, it's never too late to start your impossible.